Hi, I'm Soup. Welcome back to my channel, I guess. So this year I finally competed in OC-tober, which is basically Inktober. It's been a while since I've last competed in it. I really don't do it that often. I don't know why. But I've tried it maybe once or twice before, and I think the most I've done is 5 drawings, which that's almost a week, but I've never actually completed it. But this year, I pretty much completed it, although I will say I missed one day, and there were 2 days that I combined into one drawing, so not exactly, but I would say that counts. So um, I have to say, it was very fun. I was kind of doing it just so I could honestly get back into loving drawing, and I was taking a break from my comic because my comic was getting to be very boring to me and I was feeling very burnt out. So this was very much needed as a break. So I'm super happy with a lot of the drawings that I've done this year, specifically in this challenge. Um, this one right now is of Astro and his sister that died at infancy. Him like saying basically, "I wish you were there," and I feel like they would have a good relationship, even though like they wouldn't have any hate towards each other, even though that whole situation kind of tore his family apart for complicated reasons. But basically, his family blames him for her passing, which is very rough. It's partially because of his powers. They think he might be responsible. His powers are time related. But anyways, very awkward situation. But with this challenge, I was really trying to take it easy. Like, I wasn't the most worried about making everything look super good, so I was actually able to experiment a lot with the composition and like whether I did the line art or I just made the sketch line art, and just how much time I took on every single step. And I didn't let myself just do the same sort of shading, lighting every single time. I really wanted to experiment. And that was the best call I could have made, because I think that art should honestly be more like that all the time. Because with my webcomic, I was very much boxing myself into a certain process. So it just wasn't really good because I wasn't enjoying my drawing anymore because I was just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, and there isn't a lot of room to improve either with that because you're doing the same process. You can't really change it, and if the process isn't the best fit for you and your art style, then that's not the best. So, yeah, but oh yeah, this one specifically was more of a break day because I think it was really late, at least for me, and I wanted to get to bed. I try to go to bed at about 8 p.m. every day because I wake up at 4 a.m. most days to go to work because I work early. But yeah, so some of these you can probably tell, maybe not, that they were rushed, but yeah. And the other thing that these prompts forced me to do is think about different styles, different vibes for the art that I normally wouldn't go for. Like this one here, I do not do the cutesy, sweet treat vibe art, and you can probably tell. And I'm honestly not the most proud of this one. I think I could have done better, but it's there, and it's fine. I can always improve it later. I can always redraw it, and that's what it's for. This was meant to be a carefree drawing challenge for me, and that's what I tried to stick to. But I actually love so many of the drawings from this. Oh, this one is one of my favorites too. Funny story about this character, she's Myra, but apparently the first time I made her, her name was actually Muri, and I completely forgot that it was the same character, and so that's pretty cool, but I apparently morphed her into a pretty different character, but it's definitely still the same character. So I'm thinking about ways that I can combine the two more to make her more of a combination of both. But she has a very sad story that I've more recently decided on. She has, well, she almost died, and then she found this red thread of fate that she holds on to in order to stay alive. That's what I've decided on, and so her whole life is a struggle, but she's one of the antagonists, so I don't even have a full-on story for her. I know like 2 other characters that are in the same story as her, but I don't have the story part of that. Only little bits and pieces, which is honestly very funny. And okay, I hear a lot of people talking about how OC-tober or Inktober is such a heavy workload. Okay, I agree for the most part, but I've gotten used to doing a lot of art in just one day because I've been working on Doomlight, and I've worked on redrawing it as well, and I've just spent so much time drawing it. Sometimes I would even do like 8 to 10 hours of drawing every day, which is probably how I got burnt out. So I'm definitely trying to keep it slower now that OC-tober is done. My goal is to spend 30 minutes to 2 hours working on Doomlight every day, pretty much. I allow myself like breaks every week, but that is what I'm doing. Not going over, not going under. And it's working pretty good so far, because it's still a struggle to draw it. I think it's because what I'm drawing in it right now is not what I'm passionate about drawing. I have to come up with more realistic IRL type characters, and they're all like one-off designs of things that I don't prefer to draw. I'm drawing older people that I'm not good at drawing. I made one of the characters have a buzz cut, and I don't like buzz cuts, okay? I prefer when guys have long hair. And drawing a buzz cut and also having to draw like beards and mustaches, I'm sorry, I'm not good at them and I don't prefer them. But it's just like, this is not fun. Why am I drawing this? But I've already made the choice, so I'm gonna continue to draw it no matter how slow I go or how fast. And I am allowing myself to be a little bit more loose with my drawings. I'm not saying, hey, you have to make these drawings absolutely perfect or else, because that is what burnt me out. So changing my mindset with this, actually, OC-tober helped me to change my mindset on that, because a lot of these were pretty low effort, or I experimented heavily, or I used the sketch as the line art. I just colored it differently, and it worked perfectly. And it really gave me a little bit of confidence with my art that I don't have to spend a lot of time to draw it. And a lot of these drawings were made in like 1 to 3 hours. I would say the vast majority. Oh, and side note, the character I'm drawing right here is my friend LaFaron's character. She's named Ray, and she's from LaFaron's comic Valentine. I was slow with that, but I love Ray so much. I had to draw her, and this was the perfect excuse because the prompt for this day was a friend's OC. So I also did more of the type of color scheme that LaFaron would use, which was definitely different, but I really enjoyed. And honestly, I want to draw Ray again. I probably should, like, after I finish this video. So I might draw her again. You might see that sometime. But yeah, just so pretty. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, So, OC-tober, I will say, it was hard to draw pretty much every day, but after a while, it did get easier. And really, the way you have to deal with that and actually keep it a healthy mindset, you have to make sure that you're not saying, ooh, each one has to be a perfect masterpiece. I need to spend at least 3 hours on each one. No, do not have a minimum or maximum time. Maybe a maximum time, honestly. That might be a good idea. But don't force yourself to keep working on it if it's just too much work for you for whatever reason. I know I had to take a break for, like, I had to do less than I would have wanted. Because for this one, I really wanted to do like a full like ballroom scene, but I didn't have the time. I went to bed at like 11:30 that night. So that one took like 30 minutes or something, but I continued anyways. But then this is the one where I actually skipped over one day, and then I did 2 days in one. This was statues and foliage and flowers. So I actually like how it turned out, but I also kind of don't, because I feel like I could have drawn the weeping willow in the background better. And I also used brushes from Ibis Paint X, and I have a love-hate relationship with that. It kind of feels like cheating, but I also at the same time did not want to try to draw it all by hand. So I like this drawing, but I also don't, but I'm also very proud of how I drew the statue. So I would say overall I like this drawing, but yeah. And then the next one, it said with a familiar pet. I chose pet, but I realized that none of my characters, none of my OCs have any sort of pet. So I ended up having Asa with an Arctic fox. She doesn't have any pets, but animals are very attracted to her. There was a bird that sat on her head for a bit, and this Arctic fox came up to her, given it was kind of showing them down the mountain, and I honestly need to find out the lore behind that, because I realize I have not. But yeah, it's really funny because she has a very cold demeanor, and you don't really see her show that much emotion, except when she's with her childhood friend Dylan, which is just adorable. But she just does not show a lot of emotion, but then animals are just super drawn to her. I don't know why. But yeah. And this one, favorite hobby, I also realized that a lot of my OCs do not have any hobbies. I need to make my OCs more interesting. So, but for this one, I did Aniri. She fishes in her village, and she loves fishing. She's also very extroverted, but she loves fishing. So I felt like drawing something that wasn't just like one of my characters sketching, because a couple of my characters draw or write. Self-insert, what can I say? But she fishes, and she loves doing it, even though she's very extroverted. Did I just say that? I don't know. But yeah, I felt like I keep repeating myself. I was gonna say I felt like doing something different again. But yeah. Okay, I'm losing the plot. But oh, it is funny. At near the end of October, when I was doing the last couple drawings, I randomly couldn't sleep, and it was like 10 p.m. and I just couldn't sleep, and then I got an idea for a story, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna write this idea down in just like one sentence, and then I'm gonna go back to bed. I go back to bed after that, I try, and I cannot sleep. So I end up writing the story, and I write for like 2 or 3 hours, and then I have 2,500 words of the story. I'm still working on it. It's a space fiction, and I did not know I would want to write one of those, but I've learned that apparently I really like writing just like one-offs of genres that I don't normally go for. So like I've done Nuclear Skies, post-apocalyptic story that's about nuclear meltdown. That actually started as I wanted it to be a one-off writing exercise type of thing to get me back into writing, but then I loved the story so much that I had to make it a full-on story. But I think I've only written like 10 or 12,000 words. I really need to get back into that story. I love it. And then there was a short story I wrote that was meant to be very disturbing, horror type. And I have not shown anyone it, if I remember right, but I did enjoy it. It kind of creeps me out, personally, the story, but it was fun to write. Oh, by the way, this is Cerberus. I love him. But yeah. Then we have this one, the most recent one, The Star Child, which is, again, a genre that I don't really write. It's space, which I have a very love-hate relationship with space fiction. I don't know why. I just feel like most of it, space is very fantasy, like the space fiction. It just doesn't feel like it would actually happen. And with genres and stuff and stories like that, I don't generally like it that much. I mean, like, it's weird, actually, because I say I don't like unrealistic stories, but then I go and write unrealistic stories, like characters with magic. That's not very realistic, is it? But I have so many stories with the characters that have magic powers. I just try to make it more realistic. And, well, sometimes I don't even, and those are more like my just stories for fun. And it is fun. But I have been trying to make the stories a little more logical because it does help you understand the world more as well. And you get to reason it, even if it isn't the most advanced reasoning, it's very useful. I do need to do more world building and figure out exactly how all the magic systems I have work. But yeah. Speaking of which, Lumi is from one of the stories with a slightly more developed magic ecosystem, so to speak. They inherit magic powers based on their mother and father, basically. It's like a genetic system, but Lumi has ice powers, and they're pretty strong. You saw she was dancing around with snow. She made that snow, I would imagine. But yeah. Oh, and this drawing I love so much. It's the prompt was Blood Moon, and I drew one of my favorite characters next to his best friend. We got Eric and Oliver. Oliver is one of my favorite characters. But this is, so their village was overrun by the Merc, which are the monsters in their story, and they were there, and they didn't get injured, so they have kind of become the leaders, specifically Eric. But actually, Oliver also got injured, just he's hiding the injury because, spoiler alert, Merc scratches do not heal, and we don't know why. So he's stuck with Merc scratches on his arm, so he always wears those fingerless glove wraps that go up to above his elbows. And I really like that design choice. I'm very proud of myself. But yeah. Oh, and for this one, it was really fun. I think it was called Ghost Hunters. There was some sort of like TV show or something where people explore houses and try to communicate with the ghosts. I don't remember anymore, and I don't remember how I watched it because I normally don't watch that type of stuff, but this was very inspired by that. I'm really proud of the spider web in the corner. But yeah, ooh, this one too. I really drew like 3 bangers in a row because this one, the prompt was Nevermore. I had no idea what to do for it. I had a couple ideas, none of them really stood out to me, but I decided, you know what, it's not in the story, but Irina, the character in it, doesn't really have much of a story, so I'm gonna put it in the story anyways. So Irina is up against this giant raven. I found out actually due to my twin, who has a very big obsession with birds and butterflies and moths and insects, that apparently this is not a raven, it's a crow, because ravens are fluffier, but you know, it looks okay. And I'm actually so proud of how I drew that bird anyways, because I did not take myself to be good at drawing animals, but apparently I am now, so that was a pleasant surprise, given it was very, very shocking. Oh, and this one, I love this one too, but it's not one of my favorites, like the way it ended up looking. I feel like it could have been better, but I love this story. The current name I'm going with for it is Insect Warfare, because that's basically what it is. But it's inspired by my love for praying mantids and the way praying mantids work. Basically, after the praying mantids mate, the female kills the male, because he's served his purpose. I don't know why they do that, but they do. And then it got me thinking, what if the female praying mantids were in a cult, and they would kill the male praying mantids kind of as like a sacrifice, and what if they also killed the other insect people? And yeah, it snowballed from there. The Yellow Jackets are the resistance force against the mantid cult, the main resistance force, and oh, I love that story. I need to write it. I only have I have notes of the characters and kind of what the different insect people would do and how they would function in that world. Specifically, I love the way I wrote the butterfly people. So their names are literally just like the type of butterfly. So like the one that I've designed so far is a swallowtail butterfly, and his name is Swallowtail. And the thing about the butterfly people, butterflies are very delicate, and they would probably die pretty easily. So I decided, you know what, they would probably never go out into public, and they would mostly just be in hiding. And that would be what they normally do. However, they would probably want to make money, make a living, and people love seeing butterflies. So you never see them out on the streets, but every now and then one butterfly does like a showing, and it's pretty expensive because like when would you ever get the chance to see one? And they're very elusive. There aren't many butterflies right now. They're kind of what's the word? They are endangered. That's the word. So not very good for them, but they make their own living. And the way they keep from being hunted when they do those shows is they have like bouncers, and those bouncers are beetles. I love beetles for that, because beetles have a very hard exoskeleton, so they would be amazing bouncers, amazing bodyguards. So they make sure that no one that they don't want comes in, and they make sure nobody comes with any sort of weapons, and they are so based for that. But yeah, I have yapped about that for like 2 drawings. But yeah. Oh, and this is another character that I do not have a story for, really. And honestly, I have kind of given the character to my friend because I do not use it. Not my friend, my cousin. But yeah, I really like her design still. I designed her all the way back in 2021. So, but you can tell I'm somewhat obsessed with kimono-like designs. I just like the way they look, but I've kind of tried to shy away from them because I don't want my designs to all look the same, and I also don't want to have just like Japanese-inspired designs. I want to give other cultures into it and just have more unique silhouettes is what I need to do. Honestly, I don't really do it myself, but I should. Oh, and this one. Okay. I did another playing card design for this. I love playing card designs. I love designing my characters as if they're on playing cards. I've done it a couple times. I actually did it 2 times this OC-tober. This is the second time, but this is Skyrai. He's from a story called Honora High, which started out as a roleplay with one of my friends, and he is a lightning boy. His power is electricity or lightning. The thing is, that makes him very conductive to electricity, which means he gets struck by lightning much more than the average person. He does not like it, but I mean, it's life, so he's like, yeah, whatever. This is normal. And for the lightning, I had to look up a tutorial because I'm not very good with it, and I'm actually so shocked by how it turned out. I love this one so much. Another one of my favorites, you know. And here I drew Arena again, which for this OC-tober, one of my other goals was to try to draw as many of my OCs as possible. Because I have a lot of OCs, at least 100. I need to talk about that sometime. But this was a repeat. I've also done a repeat with Asa, and probably a couple others, but I don't remember that well right now. And I tried to do them from as many stories as I could as well. And I really enjoyed that, and I think I did pretty well. But yeah, Arena, she has a amulet sort of necklace that is very precious to her, and I realized that I did not render the gem very well, but we're just gonna ignore that. And we are getting towards the end. Wow. Then I guess I should tell you exactly my experience with OC-tober, like wrap it up, put it in a couple words. I think it really helped me. It saved my enjoyment for art, and it caused me to actually draw different things. And along the last couple drawings of OC-tober, I was also doing separate prompts just with my cousin, because he got 2 identical sketchbooks, so we've been filling them in with different prompts. We decide prompts like one of us decides one day and then the other one decides the next day, and so on. And so we both draw based on the same prompts, and it's just been so much fun. And it's also forced me to draw traditionally in a different way than I normally do, actually, because I just use pencil, pen, and an eraser in that sketchbook. No color, no other art materials. But yeah, I definitely recommend doing something like that. And because he's choosing some of the prompts, I'm choosing some of the others. The prompts he chooses are often things I wouldn't normally draw, which is so helpful because it forces me to get out of my comfort zone. And the ones I choose, I can choose to draw something I want to get better at. I can choose to draw something that I just like drawing. And yeah, but I was talking about OC-tober, not about those prompts. That's for another video once we finish it. But yeah, OC-tober was amazing for regaining my inspiration, my creativity. I made a lot of drawings that I'm very happy with, and I have a newfound outlook on how I'm gonna go into working on Doomlight. And I have started working on it, and the progress is slow compared to what I used to do, but I like the progress I'm going at. I try to finish like 1 page per day, like of sketching or line art or finishing. So it's pretty simple, and I think I'm going at the right pace. I will say, for some people, Inktober or OC-tober is going to be a lot of work. You're probably not the most used to it, that sort of workload, but for like comic artists, I would say you're very familiar with that sort of workload, and it's very good. And I would say, even if you don't draw that much, try to draw like 1 sketch each day. It doesn't matter how detailed it is. But yeah, that's it. So bye!